5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is Deducter bringing you Group A, Day 2 of the JinAir OSL round of 16. Well, I guess the more appropriate way of saying it, what this matchup is that it is the JinAir OSL Group A matchup between C Shield and Hiya. We see Hiya here as the brown Terran at the 7 o'clock position, and we have C Shield as the teal Terran at the 1 o'clock position. There we see C. I guess he was actually taking his hands off the keyboard, trying to copy Flash here. Good move, I have to say. Even if you copy Flash, that's pretty much the way to go. Although I guess in some ways he is not something that you can easily replicate. Both players here want to win on the map La Mancha. This is the first game for both players in the group, I believe. Now, the reason why I'm casting this OSL, even though I know Nuke the Stars also covers this, and we have a girl with some predictions there, good for her. And there we see some more white people. OSL, probably C or Hiya fans, good for them. And there we see another girl, quite cute there, not hiding their faces anymore. That guy, see, I'm telling you, they love the audience now. They love the camera. The audience members love the camera. That's a good thing, I have to say. At least compared to the old days where all you saw were blurred faces. Well, okay, they weren't blurred, but all you saw were hands and more predictions. Coming from someone here, Star League, something. Both players going fairly standard. They are in cross-map positions, and we see C already sending out his scouting SCV. He's not put down a barracks yet, I believe, so he may be going for 14cc, 1.53 meters, or 153 centimeters. I don't know, maybe that grows... Sounds almost like a bizarre marriage proposal, like, this is how tall I am. And C is checking for proxies there. He is quite concerned. Yeah, okay, so he's checking for proxies, and then he's going to put down the 14cc when it's safe. We see refinery out already, so this looks like factory into command center. Something is the best. C is the best. Maggie Carp. Maggie Carp is Hiya's nickname on Team Liquid. I don't know whether that's actually his Korean nickname. Doubtful. But Maggie Carp, yes, he can, evolve into Gyarados. I remember that one. That's pretty much all I remember from the games. What was in the first games, rather. So Gyarados, though, terrifying creature here. And let's see whether Hiya is Magikarp or Gyarados. This game he's going factory into command center, probably. Unless he's, going for 2 factory. Nope, he's only got 1 SCV on the gas, so that is factory into command center. This is actually going to give CC a massive economic advantage. 14cc can defend against factory into command center without much of it. Well, much of an issue. Might be a stretch depending on how good Hiya's positioning is, but C Shield should be able to defend without too much of a problem. He shouldn't be forced to live his command center. Now we see Hiya sees what C is doing. Let's see how Hiya adjusts here. That SCV taking a bit of damage, but C is not going to mind. There is going to be a Marine coming out soon, and Hiya is just going to stick to his plan. So he is actually going to be in a bit of trouble, I feel, unless he can push out a little bit earlier. Otherwise, C Shield risks running away with the economic game, rather. It's still somewhat difficult to tell, though. Even something like a factory into command center against 14cc does not mean that Terran is screwed. The second base, the first expansion, isn't that critical in TVT. The third base is usually the critical base. You can shut that down, you pretty much will win. It's also very difficult to try to shut down an opposing Terran player from putting down the third base. So we see C Shield coming in with a scout. He is going to be successful. There's a bunker at the front to stop this vulture. Should probably work. And this SCV of C sees exactly what's going on. He knows there's a factory into command center build coming his way. C using SCV to blockade his front. Nice little maneuver there. He doesn't want a scout into his base. I think it's certainly worth it. And that vulture could focus fire down the SCV, but by the time it does it, it's probably dead anyway. So unless Hiya can mass up a few more vultures to assault the front, it's not going to be able to make too much progress. C scouting SCV finally taken out here. And we see a starport going down here for C shield, and Hiya only now starting to mine from his natural, so he is quite a bit behind. But we see a starport out again from C. He is going to go for some sort of Wraith build, probably. I imagine Wraith tank build is quite popular, but what I think is better is building a few Raves just to get scouting information and to deny dropships and to be generally annoying, and then focus on a mech army at the mid-game. That, I feel, is the way to go. And really, getting a few Raves is vital, I feel, early on. So many options you can open yourself up for with the few Raves. But strategy that focus on Raves is very dangerous, since mass Raves are easily countered by a few Goliaths. Well, okay, that depends on the level of massing of your Raves and the number of Goliaths, but something like 3 Goliaths can easily deal with 6 Raves without much of a problem. Goliaths are also much more economical, but if you get something like 30 Raves, then geez, you know, that's starting to get to a very, very dangerous number of Raves. You never see that until the late game anyway. A lot of Terrans are fond of doing so. Transitioning to mass Raves, we see 2 more factories going down here for C shield. C is going to destroy his own bunker at the front here. He is feeling confident and ready to push out, and there's no reason why he shouldn't be. He was completely unmolested early on. Not that Hiya had too much of a choice to do so. And a few more mines there. C sending out that Marine as a mine sweeper. It's gotta suck for the Marine. Ooh, these mines blowing up that Marine. Poor guy. And interesting to note that C actually scanned there and then sent the Marine anyway. Bit of a waste, perhaps. You could just kill the mines with the tanks like he did there. Regardless, we see a few vultures here trying to perhaps flank into C's natural, but Hiya is going to be denied for now. Both players just content to jockey around for positions for a little bit. Ooh, that's actually a nice move there by C, taking out that forward racks of Hiya. That's going to annoy Hiya. Certainly, if you wanted to get more factories, needed to have done so earlier. But I'm not actually sure he put down more factories. He's had to rebuild his barracks. So now the economic advantage for C is starting to tell. Just looking at the food count, 64 to 54 there. So, C going to lose a Wraith a bit carelessly there to these 3 Goliaths. That's got to be a bit annoying. Surely he wanted to get some more scouting information before it died, but C is now going to go up to 5 factories, and Hiya has just 3 for now. So C hopefully will be able to take advantage of his economic early lead here and try to get himself a nice position on the map. And we see Hiya try to take his 3rd base, and I believe C is also building his 3rd base, possibly at 12 o'clock. It's a little hard to tell on the mini-map, but I would imagine he is doing so. And C sending some vultures around just to snipe that SCV. Not going to be successful here. Hiya, nice maneuvers with his own vultures. Going to stop this little assault. C with the dropship out. And both players not really being super aggressive here, not really contesting too much of the map. C is really mooring up. Okay, so C is not building another command center at 12 o'clock, it looks like. Hiya is trying to regain the economic lead here. Well, regain would be an incorrect word. He is trying to gain the economic lead here with his new command center, and should he get that up unmolested, he should be fine. Oh, these Goliaths are able to pick off the dropship. Surely there was either another tank or some vultures in there, and that tank going down. C taking another loss there. That's not going to be... he is not going to be happy about that, certainly. His attempts at harassment having been denied, C perhaps would be wiser to try to get himself a better position in the middle of the map here. We see a few tanks here sieged up outside the front of Hiya's base. And Hiya probably will be content just to fight the positional game at this point. And let's see what C can do here. In La Mancha here on this map, La Mancha, if the game goes very long, if it goes to the very late game, the bases at the 12 and the 6 o'clock position will be critical. Whatever player can control both of them, or at least one of them, and deny the other. But hold that thought! Big battle here in the middle! C with vultures and tanks fighting against a massive Goliath tank army, and it looks like C is going to overrun Hiya's defensive position here with a massive army of vultures and tanks. Hiya in a bit of trouble. He's lost all his forward forces. He needs to establish a second line now, but tanks unescorted are highly vulnerable to vultures. These vultures can come in, start laying mines all over the place. No! Hiya bringing reinforcements. The vultures not being particularly effective, and now sieging up his own tanks, but Hiya is going to be able to defend with the forces he brought up. He's also got a Wraith there just to annoy C, pick away at a tank. C actually needs to bring something to do with that Wraith. Lest he risks losing a few tanks there, which would be silly to just the one Wraith. I don't see any anti-air units out for C until now. So C is going to lose at least one tank at the front, possibly more. He's certainly not going to like that too much. But nice little push by C, forcing Hiya all the way back into a defensive position outside of his natural. C also has already established his third base, I believe, there at the 3 o'clock position. So that is something good for him. We have some more Wraiths out, and they are picking away at this tank being repaired. They should be able to kill it. Tank, just blowing up right before Goliaths come in to reinforce. That's got suck there for C. But again, I think he did what he has to. Nice work bringing out the SCVs to help repair, by the way, for C. He did what he needed to do, which is to force Hiya back into his little corner of the map there. And as long as C can tighten his hold here, tighten his vice grip, he should be fine in terms of winning the game. He will control 3/4 of the map, and Hiya will have to break out or risk dying by starvation, by attrition. Here he's just not going to be able to have the resources to cope. So Hiya does have a few vultures marauding around the map. That's always a good thing. Doing his best to pick away at some of these SCVs here. Getting quite a few kills. So nice work there by Hiya. A few more raids like that, and Hiya would be in the economic lead even, I have to argue. I still feel that C's early advantage is quite useful here, although Hiya having caught up with that earlier third base is probably even with C at this point. Actually, look, and it looks like there are a few more vultures here coming in for raiding at the south here, and Hiya trying to make a breakthrough. C coming up with some tanks, but he only has unescorted tanks. They are so vulnerable to the mines. The mines will be able to blow up all the tanks. C taking a loss there at the south, losing a lot of units, and he needs to try to contain Hiya as best he can. Doesn't look like he's going to be successful with these vultures. They're going to stick around to that 3 o'clock base and continue to cause more havoc. 5 vultures can destroy SCVs. C needs to either bring in tanks, which is what he's doing, or withdraw the SCVs. This rate, C is going to take yet more losses that he surely does not want. And Hiya has managed to break himself out of his contain there, getting some position here, a position at the southern part of the map. That could also work. Maybe instead of dividing the map east-west, you can divide the map north-south. C still controls something like 60% of the map at this point, and Hiya needs to push out just a bit more to cement his, well, not cement, but to really regain, to gain any sort of map control, I guess, although map control, not necessarily the correct word, but hold that thought, another massive battle here taking place. Hiya pushing out with a massive force of tanks that are all clumped up. C has a much better siege positioning, and Hiya is taking horrendous losses in this particular breakout attempt, and he's lost nearly all of the tanks he sent. There are a few more reinforcement tanks that are under heavy fire here, and Hiya, having lost all of his primary forces there in that breakout attempt against the main siege line of C's, is going to be forced on the defensive now. C might want to take this opportunity to try to attack Hiya. I mean, after suffering those losses, C probably feels quite confident in launching an attack, mine all of those tanks there. doing some damage. C bringing all sorts of reinforcements. He does substantially outnumber Hiya at the front here, but Hiya bringing some more tanks to shore up his defenses is going to be fine, it looks like. And C with a base there at the 12 o'clock position. I'm sure Hiya is trying to establish a base of his own at the 6 o'clock to keep even in terms of economy. But I have to say, nice work there by C Shield to hold back Hiya's assault. And now Hiya bringing some more forces to the south here. He's going to try to ignore the defenses in the, well, I guess in the central area, and he wants to try to break through in the south here. I'm not quite convinced he's going to be successful with all these repeated ground assaults. There's a lot of tanks out for C, but Hiya is going for the massive attack anyway. C has a good defensive position, and Hiya this time not clumping his tanks up nearly as much, sending the vultures in to absorb hits. It looks like C is going to be able to break out here, losing most of his vultures. He's not going to mind that too much. And C, with a secondary force here, is going to be forced to use that to defend his base at the 3 o'clock, and Hiya has broken out from the south now. Very nice maneuver, and C is forced to keep his units there at 3 o'clock to help protect his base as best as possible. And he really does have to hold that base, otherwise Hiya, I will say, will be in the lead in this game. And the battle lines in this game are somewhat more fluid. It's still more of a trench warfare type game. We can see that even though Hiya managed to break through, C has plugged up the gap, so to speak, for now. Hiya has opened himself a corridor there to the base at the 5 o'clock position, and it's natural. If he can dislodge these tanks from behind the mineral lines there, he will be able to claim those two bases without much of an issue. And both players will be even in terms of the number of bases they can access here. C, though, surely wants to deny that position to Hiya. He's bringing forces from two sides to potentially launch a flanking attack here. No, he's just going to siege up more tanks on top of this high ground here. Nice arc. And Hiya, he may have an opportunity to try to assault one of these positions. Whether this one on the corridor in the eastern part of the low grounds, or maybe try to attack the middle. I would probably attack the east, but still I feel he would incur horrendous losses in attempts to take these positions, as is the norm for trench warfare. But on the other hand, he just needs to gain a bit more ground. Normally I am not an advocate of these direct frontal assaults like this. They are so costly and you get so little for the investment, but he really does want to secure both these bases, and it may be worth it to do it in this case. I still think his better option would be to build up a mobile force of some sort, either dropships or some raids in conjunction with dropships, and then try to use that. Maneuver, really, I feel, is the key. Great thing about Raves and Vultures is that if your opponent has a slow army of, for instance, Goliaths and tanks, you can attack somewhere where they are vulnerable with the Raves, and your opponent has the choice of either sending some forces to plug up that gap, or all of his forces. If he sends some, he risks that force getting destroyed. If he sends all of them, he risks opening up another avenue of attack. Not to mention, Raves and Vultures can generally escape. Vultures also are so cheap that you can more or less throw them away if necessary. See a raid of Hiya's coming in here at the 11 o'clock. It's not too successful. Ooh, see, Hiya has built up 5 dropships there. Substantial force. I probably would not drop on where he was attacking with the Vultures. He would be wise to drop in the eastern part of the map, but Hiya looks like he is going to drop in the western part of the map for some reason. He's trying to sneak his dropships by here, but C spots them. Not necessarily the best maneuver. He is going to try to get himself up on the high ground here, but we see C already bringing out his forces. They are trapped on that little ramp there. This is a great opportunity, I have to say, for Hiya. He's got tanks siege up on the high ground here. Very nice work by Hiya. This is how you play the positional game here. C bringing some Goliaths to deal with that base at the 5 o'clock position. Command Center lifting is actually not going to help them against Goliaths. And now C is desperately trying to bring up forces to shore up his defenses here at the 11 o'clock. And that Command Center going to get killed by C. But Hiya doing some damage in return, burning down one of C's own Command Centers. Now Hiya, with 6 dropships, he has a very substantial force, and C looks like he's getting ready to potentially transition into Raves. He's got 2 armories upgrading, surely. Air. Whoa, we see Armor 1 and Weapon 1 upgrade for the mech army of C. That's very rare that you see armor being upgraded on Terran mech units. Generally, you want the +2 attack. But hold that thought, another massive attack here coming in by Hiya at the 12 o'clock base. C is now actually in some trouble. He's lost 2 bases in succession. This base actually matters because he had SAVs mining here, and he's going to lose the command center very quickly. This is what I mean. Mobility is the key here, and Hiya with great use of his mobile forces has dealt C 2 defeats in rapid succession. In good positions too, and C is going to have to struggle to come back a bit, but C with his own dropships maybe wants to do some counter damage. Hiya trying to just siege up on top of this bridge here. Not too much that C can do to try to dislodge Hiya. Hiya bringing yet more reinforcements. He perhaps wants to try to finish off C's hold there on the western part of the map. If he can take out that expansion at the natural at 11 o'clock, Hiya will be in a game-winning position. As it stands, Hiya is perhaps 1 blow away from knocking C out of the game. C needs a win right now. He needs some sort of victory. Whether it's intercepting and destroying the dropships or plugging up one of the drops, C is going to go for a massive attack at the natural. He's got so many forces. He's basically got 2 wave of dropships worth of forces there. And he would be wise to siege up outside the natural and send a small detachment to gain position over the natural. C is bringing his dropships back into the main. Hiya sending his dropships to pick up some reinforcements, it looks like. And C is going to try to burn down that science facility and this command center here, it looks like, at the natural. It doesn't look like C is going to mind this too much. He does burn down the science center and the command center, science facility rather. And now Hiya's push has been stopped, but he is in a good position here. It'll be difficult to defeat that army of Hiya's, although, on the other hand, Hiya only has 4 Goliaths left, so C does have an opportunity going for a drop to clean that out. C needs to clear that out, otherwise his forces are so separated that he is just in great danger of losing one of his armies to encirclement. This is the chance for Hiya to land his knockout blow. He needs to attack somewhere and finish off C, perhaps in the western part of the map where all those units are isolated. C is bringing reinforcements. He knows that is critical for him to defend. Ooh, Hiya losing one of his dropships there. He does not want to suffer that loss, and Hiya perhaps wants to go in for the finishing blow here. He's got enough units to get it done, I feel. It would be somewhat of a risk, but I think it is a risk worth taking. However, Hiya seems content just to hold his ground for now and continue to divide C's army without trying to destroy any one of these encircled forces. That can actually be somewhat dangerous if C is able to make a breakout attempt and destroy some of the besiegers here. C is going to be right back in this game. As it stands, though, Hiya certainly with the clear advantage. And now Hiya going to send a small force here to try to siege up outside the mineral lines here. He does not want to force his hand here. He does not want to really risk losing too many units to assault this position here at the natural at 11 o'clock. I feel that might be a bit of a mistake. I still think C really cannot defend that place. Hiya would be wise to build a few Raves to deal with these dropships if he can do that. There's not too much that the dropships will be able to do. They'll be forced to unload their cargo somewhere unoptimal, and that will be the golden opportunity for Hiya to go in and crush this base, win the game. This is what I mean. 2 or 3 raids right now can be the game-deciding moment. But see, now he's going to launch a massive breakout attack here. He's going to clean up all of the forces of Hiya's siege outside of his natural. Hiya decided to counter drop in the middle, where he can't really make any sort of gains. He's lost another dropship too. So this time, Hiya, not with the clever drop. Don't know why he dropped here. He basically accomplished nothing dropping in the middle here. He would have been wise to either counter drop. Well, I probably wouldn't drop outside the natural. That's not going to work. And now C is going to bring out forces to destroy the forces here of Hiya's outside his natural at the 11 o'clock and reestablish mining there. And Hiya has thrown away the golden opportunity he had for victory here. And C has gotten himself right back in this game. Good maneuver by C. Really, I blame more Hiya's indecisiveness. He's got himself into such a great position, and he really, I feel, could have had an opportunity to close it out. It's not a 100% sure thing that he would have won, but I think it was worth the risk to launch that final decisive attack. As it stands, C is going to get himself back into all of the positions he had earlier. And Hiya, with his early leading mobile forces, is now cut down to 5 dropships, whereas C has 6. So both players are even, and Hiya is merely content to marshal his army in the middle of the map. That is fairly pointless. There's nothing to fight over here in the middle. It's all desolate wasteland, literally. So, on the map of Mancha, this is supposed to be... But anyway, Hiya launches another massive attack in the middle. He should be able to defeat this army here. He has overwhelming forces, but C bringing in additional forces to plug up this gap, and Hiya, with his trench, reverting back to the trench warfare tactics here instead of mobility tactics, has made some gains there, but for what? Fighting over a piece of wasteland. Kind of pointless, I have to say, by Hiya. He's not really even setting himself up in terms of any good position. And C trying to come in. Now Hiya has the Wraith out. He's going to be able to pick off at least one of the dropships, it looks like. And this is what I mean. Even one Wraith can force player to unload their dropship units unoptimally. So that opens the opportunity for an attack somewhere else. I feel it is probably just so difficult for these strategies to be carried out by the pro gamers that they don't do it. I mean, it's just logical to do so. But the amount of ATM and multitasking required is probably so inhuman that only the likes of Flash can do something like that. And even Flash doesn't do it all the time. But now we see another massive attack by Hiya. And there's also this tendency for commanders of all days and ages to launch the glorious frontal assault. That is the big battle, test of strength here. It's like jousting between knights. They just charge at each other with a lance. Whoever knocks the other off the horse wins. It is a fairly straightforward measure of strength, but I personally prefer, to bust out a rifle at the last moment. Not a rifle, more like a pistol, although I guess that would require, 17th century technology. Anyway, massive attack here by C. He's going to break through at the north here and try to secure the base at the north. The 11 o'clock, whereas Hiya has managed to get himself, open himself up a corridor, potentially to attack the 3 o'clock base or the natural. This is another golden opportunity for Hiya. If he can go for the main or the 3 o'clock base, he will be in fine position. As it stands, I don't know what Hiya is doing. He's just moving his units around the middle of the map. He's picked off a dropship there, which is good, but he's giving time for C to respond. Hiya bringing all sorts of dropships here to the natural. Okay, that's what he was trying to do. He's got himself positioned over these armories, and this force is going to be able to stop C from reinforcing any position on the map via the ground, whereas Hiya has a secondary force here. He's going to load these up in a dropship. Let's see what he does with it. He can go for one of the mining bases, or he can go for a massive drop in the main. This could be a game-winning maneuver by Hiya, but C bringing in reinforcements of his own. This is going to be one tense battle here. Hiya dropping first, but C dropping second. It is impossible to tell who has the upper hand here, but it looks like C is going to be able to clean this up, and Hiya's maneuver failing here. Hiya still has that force on the bottom of the ramp, but C managing to plug up this gap here thanks to his own dropships, which, how critical are these dropships? Imagine if C didn't have any dropships, he would have lost the game at this point. And dropships really critical. I mean, I cannot emphasize this enough. They are, it doesn't matter usually necessarily how many troops either player has, as long as they can concentrate their forces in one position. Even if outnumbered overall, I feel the player with the dropship advantage has the decisive lead in a TVT. As it stands, C has managed to clear up all the forces outside of his natural, and Hiya's maneuvers have failed here. Hiya looks like he is going to drop at the 12 o'clock to try to knock that base out. And he's only dropped a few units there to harass. He's bringing up more forces to drop at the 11 o'clock base. He really wants to deny this base to C, which is a good maneuver. Not that Hiya is taking his bases at the 5 o'clock for some reason. And now Hiya has position once again over the high ground there. He is trying to assault the natural potentially. and gonna burn down this command center. C's. Ooh, this is a great opportunity for C. He's picked off 3 dropships of Hiya's. This is actually quite a momentous defeat here. C has taken the initiative once again in this game. He has an opportunity now to counterattack or to clean up one of these drops without fear of harassment anymore. Taking out 3 dropships, severely limiting Hiya's options. Hiya, with only the 3 dropships, he's forced to bring up some forces by the ground here. It looks like he is going to be able to, once again, get position at that 12 o'clock. But C really has the opportunity, now that he's taken the dropship lead, to do something here. I believe C will probably try to defend his resource intake. He's down to 1 mining base, in fact, whereas Hiya looks like is also down to 1 mining base. Both players running quite low on resources here. This is one of the lower resources of long games in recent memory, I have to say. And now it looks like Hiya once again able to burn down the command center at the 12 o'clock. C is in some trouble here. What is he going to do with his dropships? That is the question. C looks like he might want to go for a counterattack, except there's nothing to counterattack at the 9 o'clock position. So C perhaps going to clear up the forces here at the 11 o'clock base, and getting some units here on the high ground is going to help him defend comfortably. Hiya's attempt to attack is going to be thwarted here without much of a problem. And C's defenses are solid for now. Hiya dropping more forces to try to deny mining, and Hiya getting a base of his... no, that's C. C getting bases here at the 5 o'clock position. Hiya really missed the opportunity there to try to secure that location. Even a few units in the command center would be great. Hiya is also at risk of running out of resources at this rate. And both players in a tense game right now. Hard to say who has the lead. C is not mining much, but Hiya is almost out of resources. As long as C can continue to secure these bases here, he will be fine. And Hiya down to 3 dropships. Really, that blow was critical by C. He's not going to be able to do too much. Hiya's still doing quite well considering the few units he has left in the dropships, and now using the tanks here to siege up outside the natural at the 5 o'clock base. A good maneuver by Hiya, bringing some ground forces too. C bringing down his forces slowly, it looks like. Wonder what happened to his dropships. No, C has a few more units there to help shore up his defenses. And both players really, hard to say again who is in the lead at this point. I have to give C a slight lead since he has the prospects to open additional bases, and now C going to clean up all of these forces here that Hiya brought in at the natural 5 o'clock. And yeah, that's what I mean. C has access to many more bases than Hiya does. Hiya really needs to secure himself another base, some sort of resource intake if he wants to be competitive in this game. Otherwise, C will starve him out. C also has the dropship advantage, which will be critical in helping him either defend or counterattack. Although I guess there's not too much to counterattack at this point. Defense is probably the wiser option. Hiya's massing up forces. He wants to try to break through here, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to get anything done without more dropships. That is the sad truth of the matter. Hiya has managed to force C to lift there at the natural of the 11 o'clock, but C can just go mine at the main of the 11 o'clock. So Hiya is not going to mind that too much. Again, I do not know what Hiya wants to try to do here. He's going to come into the main here of the 5 o'clock with 4 dropships. This is actually a fairly good maneuver. Losing another dropship there, nice work by C, consistently picking off the dropships. And Hiya managed to get a few units up here, but what is he going to be able to do? Maybe he can bring some SCVs in to build another command center in mine. That's the best I can think that he can do. C, though, if he wants to, should be able to break his way up here with his dropship advantage. He's actually just going to advance slowly here, and he's cleared up most of the tanks already of Hiya's. And Hiya is in desperate trouble at this point. I thought he would be more proactive in trying to secure himself some more resources, but doesn't look like he's going to be able to do so. And C is mining comfortably off 2 bases, where Hiya is mined out at this point. Hiya breathing hard there. He's thinking about how he could potentially turn this game around. He knows he needs to do something, but perhaps he is just not sure what he can do at this point. And Hiya loading up more units into his dropships. He has 4 again here, and Hiya going to float his command center there to the natural at 11 o'clock. Maybe he wants to start mining there. That's also a good move. There's also the base at the 12 o'clock, which I actually think Hiya could potentially take at this point, even though it's closer to C's main. Hiya, though, gonna come in for an attack here at the 11 o'clock, and he is going to be successful here. It looks like C's defenses are defeated, but C bringing reinforcements, and Hiya is down to just 2 tanks there. No, C actually wins the battle with the forces he had, and Hiya really frustrated here. You can look at him sighing in frustration here, exasperated, if you would. He knows that he is close to defeat here, and honestly, I am not sure what he can do to try to come back in this game. C is going to be able to bring units here to stop mining at the 11 o'clock potentially, but even if he doesn't, the resources there are quite thin indeed. And C has a lot of units. Still, it looks like that he brought in as reinforcements to that 11 o'clock base. So C is in a great position in this game. Hiya is in desperate trouble, I have to say. And I just, again, am not sure what he can do at this point. He doesn't have the dropship advantage. He doesn't have economic lead. He doesn't really have the troop strength left to fight C with. So, I don't know. I really do not know what Hiya can do at this point. And now we see another attack here by Hiya. By C here at the base at the natural 11 o'clock, and this is going to force that command center to lift. Hiya knows he's probably lost the game. He's probably going to go in for 1 or 2 more last-ditch attacks, but I don't really see too much of what he can do. He's going to try to clear up the position here at the 5 o'clock base. Not too much else he can do. He's going to be able to push C back for now, but C should be able to bring some forces to stop this push. No, C is forced to lift his command center here. It's actually kind of unexpected, I have to say. And Hiya is going to float a command center over. C can't allow Hiya to actually, get a base there. Hiya is going to go in for a massive airlift operation and get mining there at that base. Where are C's mobile forces? C has decided to counterattack here, doing a lot of damage, killing quite a few SCVs of Hiya's. And C bringing his own SCVs north, but there's little reason to allow Hiya to access 2 fresh mineral patches here. C bringing some forces to see what's going on. Hiya has basically concentrated every last unit he has remaining here, and if he can get mining operations established, he will have a lifeline back into this game. And it looks like he does have mining operations reestablished here. So C would be wise to try to stop Hiya there. He needs to try to do something, I feel. Either get himself, 3 more bases. He still has the option to go for the 12 o'clock base and overwhelm Hiya again economically. Let Hiya mine from that base. Or C needs to try to knock Hiya out by denying that base. As it stands, perhaps C is mostly tapped and doesn't have enough units to cope with this, although I find that difficult to believe. Maybe C is content just to be in defensive posture and he wants to win this game just by resource lead. And it looks like we settle into somewhat more of a stalemate again. 3 upgrades upgraded for C and 2 upgrades for Hiya there. Interesting though, both players upgraded armor on their mech. The reason why I think that is probably in response to potential Wraith attack by both players. Armor does help quite a bit against Wraiths, not so much against tanks. Now we see C bringing out some more dropships here. Not quite sure what he wants to try to do with them. I guess he's keeping them in more defensive posture there. C not content to knock Hiya out with 1 decisive blow. Not quite sure whether that is wise. Again, I think that C, he had such a great opportunity. If he concentrated all his forces, he should have been able to defeat Hiya right then. Even if he doesn't win outright, Hiya will be forced to keep so many of these units there to defend that he's not going to have any option to launch counterattacks. And C is going to be able to mine comfortably off his bases and then defeat Hiya just by drawing units, wave after wave of units there at the 5 o'clock. As it stands, Hiya has found himself a lifeline, however tenuous, and he has a chance of building up some forces and maybe delivering a counterstroke to C somewhere. I mean, he did launch some great attacks early on and really caught C unawares. So perhaps he can do so yet again. I think it will be difficult though. C is at least 2 bases up on Hiya's 1, and C, he should be able to get mining at 12 o'clock without an issue. So with that, he is going to be perhaps too far ahead in terms of economy to be beaten. C with a substantial ground army there. Hiya continuing to try to get position over the natural here at the 11 o'clock, but C has so many more forces this time come plug it in. He's not even going to bother to siege up. He's just going to come in for a big attack here. Perhaps this was more of a distractionary force by Hiya. He's got a force of dropships to try to sneak around to the 12 o'clock, it looks like. But C, also with his own dropships and bringing vultures, not going to be able to stop this. Looks like Hiya dropping 1 unit he can here in the corner, and C also counter-dropping this attack by Hiya. Unfortunately, not going to be able to accomplish too much here. Hiya might be able to stop mining for now, but C is going to be able to push this back sooner or later, even if he loses a few more units than Hiya. He's not going to mine. Yeah, he cleans it out without much of an issue. Isn't even forced to lift the commands at Hiya, looking very frustrated. I guess he was Maggie Clark. He was so close to evolution to Gyarados earlier. He was in such a great position, and at the decisive moment when he has split seed up all over the map with massive dropship cargo, massive 6 fleet dropship cargo's worth of units, that was his opportunity to deliver the decisive blow to C and knock C out. But as it stands, Hiya unable to do so, and now he is, there's pretty much no hope for his position at this time. I really don't see what C can do. Sad for him. Hiya trying to come in at the 6 o'clock here to defend. There's not even anything to defend here. C is just attacking for the sake of attacking. GG coming from Hiya. Nice work by C, I have to say. He was in a tricky situation and he prevailed. Uncharacteristically so, I have to say, in the Star Leagues. Well, okay, that's giving C too little credit. But Hiya, I still have to say, he should have won this game. Anyway, thank you for watching. Going on to Group B.